All right, hello everybody. This is Carl White here in the Animals Nation's headquarters, and I've got a very dear friend of ours, Troy Jones, loan officer, part of the Freedom Club, located in Dallas, Texas. And Troy, dude, I love the topic you picked out for today.
Awesome, man. I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah, because you know one thing I've said, and for the people listening in today, is for the most part, Troy, for the most part, it's like we know how to sell. You know, as long as we're doing like two, three, four loans a month as a minimum, you know,
Hmm.
we know how to sell because we sold those two a month, or those three a month, or those four a month. And for some of you, you might be at 15 and 20 a month. This is going to be just as applicable. You know, maybe even more so. But it's like we know how to sell. We know how to get those two or three or four or five or 25 loans. But, you know, the biggest obstacle, I think that without quite, I don't think I know it. The biggest obstacle, Troy, that we see is spending time actually selling and
Hmm.
not being so tied up, not getting all the distractions that's keeping us from selling. Do you know what I mean?
That's right. And it doesn't take a lot of time to sell either. You just gotta time block it, chunk it, and do it.
Yeah,
But yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
and that's a good point. We don't have to spend 8 hours a day selling. We can be wildly successful. And I know, Troy, you and I belong, you know, in the Freedom Club. We see people that are wildly successful that's only selling for like 2 hours a day, just 2 hours.
Hmm.
But you know, one of my favorite questions to ask people, Troy, is when you know when we have our events and whatnot, and we ask them, you know, number one. In fact, everybody that's listening right now, I want you to do this. For everybody that's listening, I want you to write down what's the one activity you do that makes you the most money? What's the one
Hmm.
single activity you do that makes you the most money? And Troy, you know, sometimes when we ask this at while everybody's writing down your answer,
Hmm.
sometimes at our live events we'll ask that, and somebody say, "Well, closing the loan makes me the most money." And it's like, no, man, that something happened
That's a
before.
byproduct. That's a byproduct of the
Yes,
activity. That's right. Yes.
exactly. Something happened before then. Like
Hmm.
what brought that deal in so that you could close it? So number one, what's the number one activity that brings you in the most money? And I would say for most of us, it's prospecting.
Hmm.
It's out how do you know getting more leads in, which probably the most popular and I think the easiest is connecting up with real estate agents. You know, doing the old meeting them for coffee and
That's
then
right.
following up with them and asking for the business on our Monday morning phone calls.
That's right. That's
So
right.
once we've identified what's that number one activity, then the second question we ask is how many hours or minutes, if any, did you spend doing that activity last week? How many hours
Mm.
or minutes, if any, did you spend doing that said activity that makes you most money last week? And you know, Troy, the when we do these live events, and I know you've seen it too, is the average answer to that is zero.
That's right. That's
You know,
exactly right.
and so
Hmm.
what you're going to be talking about today is how to turn that zero into just like 2 hours or 3 hours a day, just to see incredible growth in your business. That's what we're talking about, Troy. So, brother, I appreciate you putting this together. You're an awesome dude. I know you're a regular here for teaching, so I really appreciate you helping us help others. So, take it away, my brother.
Thanks, man. It's an honor to be here. So, that's the reason why I chose a squirrel here. Because essentially what it is we're chasing squirrels, you know,
Yeah.
and that squirrel can be different things for different people. And this class is Operation Distraction Liberation. So let's figure out what we need to do to get rid of the distractions that are preventing us from getting to the next level. Um, so, so first off, I like to really figure out, before I know what I want to do or how I'm going to do it, I need to figure out, why I want to do something. And everybody has their own unique personal why. And these are my three whys right here. This is my family. This is Jennifer and Gentry and Truett. And this is the reason why I had to liberate myself from all the uh, so many distractions that were just holding me back from giving my family the life that I wanted them to have. And essentially, that's what it was. It was distractions doing that. So you have to have your why. You know what I mean, man?
Yeah, I do. And brother, let me tell you something, man. So you've done something that I had that I, if I have a severe regret for, is that you have a young family, relatively speaking. You have a young family, and that you're getting rid of your distractions and spending more time blocking into selling, closing more loans, giving more income for you and your family, setting up your legacy for your kids, giving your wife the security that our mates are looking for in us. That
That's
you're
right.
doing this at a young age, relatively speaking, is just incredible. So, and that when you talk about what you're going to be talking about today, this time chunking and tools that you use to make that happen, that you spend, like when you go home at 5 o'clock, everything's done. So you don't have to open
That's
up
right.
your laptop when everybody else is sitting around checking their emails and checking their laptop and taking apps at 8 o'clock at night. Dude, you already
Hmm.
did it in the first couple hours of your day.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Good for you, man.
Let's hop right in. So, so what I do now, this isn't how how I've always done it. And I mean, this is, I want to talk about the old me, and it's really saddening. You mentioned about me figuring this out. I mean, it took me, I've been at this now for 14 years in the business, around 14 years, and it's taken me a long time to figure out how to do this. And so, unfortunately, I wasted a lot of years not being there for my family, working all the time and getting distracted, not being fully at work when I was at work and not being fully at home when I was at home. And so what I found myself is, I found myself spending way too much time at home in the evening time, staring at my phone, checking out email. You see this guy here, he's with his daughter at the park.
Mm.
And I mean, that was me, man. I mean, not just the occasional checking the email, but just being sucked in for hours on end and just ignoring my family. And I would also find myself being distracted at work. Whenever it was like my selling time is 9 to 11, and that's when if I'm not selling, I'm not going to have a good month next month or the month after. And so I would find myself at work whenever I was supposed to be selling, on the phone or meeting with agents, where I was distracted in social media or checking my email and replying to things that could wait for another time. So I had to find a solution to be able to get out of those time wasters.
And just for those, some people might be listening to this, as opposed to looking at a screen. Sometimes people do this during drive time. When you say 9 to 11, just want to clarify, for most loan officers, that might mean 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., but you mean from
No, yeah,
9 a.m.
9
to
a.m.
11
to
a.m.
11. That's right.
Okay.
Focus the time, rip the band-aid off, and make those phone calls. For me, it's making phone calls from 9 to 11. That's my top money making activity is picking up the phone. So so here is the big problem, and it's denial. And you see a picture here of this banana, and no matter how hard that banana tries to be an apple, it's never going to be an apple. And my problem is that I thought that I could manage my incessant tendency to check social media and email at all times during the workday and at all times during night. You know, I would tell myself, this is the week. I'm not gonna check it. I'm gonna get off of it. I'm gonna take it off my phone. I'm gonna, take the app off my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna check it. And I may do that for a week or two, and then I would get sucked right back in and fall back into the same habit that I had so ingrained in me. And it honestly, sadly to say, it's the lack of self control, but I personally believe, if, like, example, if somebody's an alcoholic, they don't need to be hanging out at bars,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it's kind of a situation where you have to know where your weakness is, and I had to figure out what my weakness was and how to overcome it.
Yeah.
So so figuring that out and figure overcoming denial is just, it's liberating. It really truly is, figuring
Yeah.
out what your problem really is.
Yeah, because then you don't go around beating yourself up, saying, I'm not saying you for this for you, but I'm saying it for myself. I used to
Hmm.
beat myself up and going, well, man, I need to be doing this, and when I see other people doing it okay, or I think they're doing it okay, and I'm weak, I'm a loser, because I can't control this one aspect of my life. And,
Right,
and
right.
when you give that up and go, okay, I need some help with this, It's almost like in what you're going to be talking about today. I think the the example you gave of an alcoholic in a has no business being in a bar, I think kind of applies to this, because the problem is, and I know you're going to go into this, is that the distractions, dude, they're everywhere, and with us carrying around our phone and our iPads and the computer. I mean, it's just like it's on our hip, and I see
That's
people
right.
walking around with their earpiece, their Bluetooth earpiece stuck in their ear all the time. Like, man, it's hard to get rid of that.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's like it becomes attached to your body and it's a part of you. You know, it's like putting on blue jeans. You know, you just take it everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how did you get out of this?
Okay, great. So I'm gonna hop in that in just a second here, but I'm gonna lean into this problem just a little bit more here, okay?
Yeah.
Just a little bit more, and then so let's just make the problem a little bit bigger. Talk about it a little bit more. So really, in a nutshell, ignorance is liberating, you know. And I want to give one more example, just in case we haven't touched on enough yet. But and as an example, this happened to me all the time. These kind of things, you know, like I would. There's a picture of this man. He is, you know, in a canoe, and he doesn't know that this huge shark is right below him, and I equate that to fires that we have in our mortgage business. We have
Mm.
fires, you know, we deal with, and everybody, no matter somebody's got to deal with the fires, either yourself or one of your team members, but there's going to be fires that are going to pop up occasionally in the mortgage business. And so, like as an example here, you know, like if I would work on Monday and I wouldn't be as effective as I wanted to be on Monday. So I'd go to bed Monday night and I wake up Tuesday, you know, feeling frustrated that I didn't get done what I wanted to do that on Monday. And you know, I would vow to myself, you know, this week is going to be better. Monday may be gone, but man, I got the rest of the week, and I'm gonna knock it out of the park, you know. And so I would wake up, and first thing I would do is I would hit the floor, and I would get to my cell phone, turn my alarm off, and check my email. And lo and behold, guess what happened, Carl?
Yeah.
You have three fires that you have to deal with. You know,
Yeah.
three deals that are unraveling. Your top agents, you know, they're going to be upset with you, and you know you're going to lose. You know, you got thousands and thousands of dollars of commissions on the line. And so what happens is at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm hopping into fireman or fireman mode. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm at breakfast that morning. I am not thinking about my wife or my son or my daughter and how I can help them. I'm thinking about the three problem files that I have to deal with, and my mind is just saturated with that.
Yeah.
And you know, I get to work, and I'm at work at 9 o'clock in the mornings, and I have scheduled my 9 to 11 a.m. phone calls to make. But my mind is so far away from that, Carl. I'm thinking about the fires that I have to put out.
Yeah, and
And the question,
what happens is like you go, well, here, let me just take care of these fires real quick, and then I'll
yeah,
start making my phone calls.
it doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
It doesn't
Yeah.
happen. And the other
No.
thing I find, Troy, is like, even if you get on your phone calls and start making phone calls, and you've already checked, like once you've checked your emails and you know these fires are there, I think our brain has it. So even if we make those calls, that our brain is saying, hey Carl, hey Troy, let's slow up on bringing in new loans. We already have enough headaches. We've already got these fires to put out. God forbid if we bring another loan in, we'll have another fire to put out. And with that stuff fresh in our head, even if we're making our phone calls, I think our effectiveness goes down to like 5%, because we don't
Yeah.
want to cause ourselves more trouble.
Yeah, because you're sitting on the phone asking for business, but you're in your mind you're thinking, you know, I really don't want any right now.
Yeah,
You know, I need to
yeah,
take care of the problems. I don't want more problems right now. That's a
yeah,
great point. It's like
yeah,
taking your foot off the gas pedal and putting on the brake. You know,
yeah.
and so you know that's the question that I want to like to ask myself, and I had to ask myself is, what could I have done in that from that 9 to 11 a.m. What could I have done on phone calls if I wouldn't have known that those fires, quote unquote fires, were there? Those fires would have been there at 11 o'clock, Carl. At 11:05, when I checked my email, those same fires that were there at 6 o'clock in the morning were still going to be there, and there's nothing that I could have done to solve those problems from 6 to 11 a.m. that I couldn't do at 11:05 a.m. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Dude, that's a great point. We were talking a little bit about that before we started the call today. You and I were
Yeah.
talking a little bit, and it's like, whether we if we start putting out the fire at 9 o'clock, or and we know that fire's there, at like 6
Yeah.
a.m. when we check that, Yeah, nothing really would change if you started solving that problem at 11:05. Just being honest, nothing really going to change.
Hmm.
Yet, if you would have delayed looking your email, if you would have delayed answering the phone or whatever it is, or going on Facebook or whatever those things were that got you distracted, if you would have sold between 9 and 11, you'd have got another, maybe a deal, maybe two, maybe 10 more for the, doing this, each and every day, Monday through Thursday. You might have got another 10, maybe 15 more deals for the month
That's right.
if you'd have put on your your fire hat at 11:05 instead of 9:05.
And I know we have guys and gals on the phone that are from all over the U.S. But I mean, what do you see to be the average commission? I think you said went like $2,000 on average, roughly.
That's average. Average person makes $2,000 every time they get a closing on average.
Okay, so you could have if you sold two deals in that time period, that's $4,000 that you put aside because your brain you were foggy mind. You were thinking about problems. I mean, and I did this for years and years, Carl, and it was just self-sabotaging, and I had to stop it. So you can see it's a because when we all sell a transaction, a loan. I mean, we're not making just a little bit of money. We make really good commissions when we sell deals. We really do. So okay, so I think we laid into the problem enough,
Okay,
don't you think?
they're huddled up in the corner in fetal position, sucking their thumb right now, saying, "Dude, I can so relate, Troy. What's a solution that you've come up with this?"
Well, they got to come back for next week. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
that's it for today. We run out of time, and
Yeah, we're out of time. Sorry, but okay, let's talk about the solution. So first off, I need to tell you that this software, I have no ownership in it whatsoever. I know you don't have any ownership in it. I wish that we did have, honestly, because it's a really cool program. But so I don't make a penny if
yeah.
anybody does this, you don't either. So
There's no affiliate links or anything like that. Which is
yeah,
what we
there's
do.
it's
What we do
just
is we just share. Hey, this is something we found that works, and it's making you more money because you're spending more time selling. So we're just you know, sharing one of the solutions that we found,
that's all it is.
or
That's
that you
correct.
found. I just want to be perfectly transparent here that you found this. So and you was kind enough to share it with us.
So one thing that I do is I'm always looking for apps to be able to because I do I go out and I do mobile phone tips of the week, and I'm always looking for these different apps to use. And I found this app a few months ago, and I thought it was pretty unique because I was trying to find a way to get off my phone so much. And this app is called Freedom. Freedom.to is the name of it. And so what this app does, you have to install it on your computer first, and then once you install it on your computer, then you can install it on your mobile devices. Now, what it does is this app allows you to block internet apps, websites, whichever ones you want to block at whichever certain times of the day that you want to block these apps. So this is step one here. Step one is you have to download the website. You go to freedom.to to actually install it. Now, this is not a free service. It is a paid service that you pay to the company. And one other disclaimer I want to add: this app it will work on your Apple computer or Windows computer, but it will only work on mobile devices that are iPhones, like iPhone products. It will not work on Androids yet, but you can block it. So if you have an Android phone, you can't use it on your Android, but you can use it on your iPhone or your regular PC computer. Does that make sense?
It
You follow me on that?
it does, and I just want to clarify. When we talk about the price of this thing, I know you're going to talk about that in a minute, but I
Yeah.
mean, this is in essence free. So I think we're talking like a couple bucks a month kind of thing. So
Yeah, it's actually even less than that. There's different options you can look at, and but that's the first disclaimer I want to give on that. So that's step one. You need to first go to the website,
okay,
and step two is you need to pick your plan, and they have everything from monthly to the forever plan. I personally got the forever plan because I figured that, as you can see here, they give a 60-day money back guarantee, and I figured if I didn't like it within a few weeks, I would get rid of it and get my money back. And so I paid the 120 bucks here for the forever plan. And honestly, Carl, in the first day, I feel like I got my money back. in the first day of using it, you know.
Yeah.
So you can pick the plan you want. That's the one because you can't use it until you actually purchase a plan.
Got it.
So that's step two.
Okay.
Step three is so once you select the plan and pay for the plan, then you need to install it. And so you need to install it on any device you want to use. So any computer, any mobile device you want to use, you have to install it on it. So I use a PC, so I installed the Windows option on my computer. And then after you install it on your computer, then you can install it on your phone and put in the login credentials on your phone. You basically go to the App Store, and I'll show you in just a few slides of how you do that in just a minute here. But first thing you have to put it on your computer.
Okay.
And step four is then you need to Carl, you can set these up on a like on the fly. So like if you don't have a time block session like in the middle of the day, but you're like, man, I need to focus on something for 2 hours and I don't want to be distracted at all, you can log in and turn off what websites you want to turn off for that period. And so I do that occasionally, but I have a daily time that my phone and my desktop will not allow me to go to certain websites or certain apps. And I do mine. So this is where you select the session, and you can have a recurring session. So mine recurs every day, 7 days a week. And how I do mine is I set mine from 6 p.m. until 11 a.m. the next day. That's when I do mine.
That's killer. So from 6 p.m. to 11 a.m., this in essence puts a locked iron gate around the bar. So
yeah, you can't bail out to the bar.
so from 6 p.m., which is family time,
that's right,
until 11 a.m., which in the morning is your selling time.
Mm-hmm.
This is keeping you off your Gmail account, because that's a website. Your Gmail, your Facebook, your LinkedIn,
YouTube, Twitter, whatever is Pokemon Go, which is not a problem of mine, but you can see it's down
Yes.
here also.
Yes.
Whatever is a problem, you can select it. You can see here, you can check box which one you want to disable, and if you don't see a site on here, you can add a website on here. You can add it on here.
So just, and I know you're going to go more into this, but let's just talk about results here just for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So when you did this and you have it set up so that you can be on your computer, because you might need access to your CRM, making phone calls, your contact, so you have your agents that you're calling and whatnot. So when you first started using this, how hard was it at first, if at all? How hard was it that you knew that you're not accessing your email from 6 p.m. until 11 a.m. because you're spending time with your family, and then in the morning you're selling? How hard was it the first couple times when you did this? And if I'm jumping ahead, stop me. How effective did you find yourself once you turned this off?
Well, the biggest eye opener I had was whenever I gave an example in a few slides earlier. But the biggest issue or the eye opening I had was when I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, hit the floor, and try to check my email, and I would just see the hourglass. So it was kind of a reminder, hey Troy, quit looking at your email. So that was the biggest, because I would be, waking up, and I have a habit of checking my email when I get up in the morning. And I talked to a lot of loan officers, and I know a lot of other LOs have that same issue as well.
Yeah.
That was the first thing. The other thing is, and I joke about this, is that at nighttime, we're maybe after we've had dinner, and the kids are getting ready for bed, and my wife, she may look on her phone at check a couple of different updates on Facebook. She's not addicted to Facebook, but she may look at a couple things, and I'm sitting there just looking at her, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I say, "I can't be on Facebook right now." So it's allowed me to be more, I guess, in tune with my family, and from a family standpoint, because I don't work to work. I work to live. I have my family, and so for me, I saw the biggest dividends up front with being more in touch with my family.
Good for you, man. Good for you, brother. So, good for you. Yeah, you just remind her, hey, this is mommy and daddy time. So
yeah, yeah.
Good for you,
kids
man.
getting ready for bed. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. So you can add any sites at any time you want to. And as you can see here, I had like 4 hours and 33 minutes left whenever I did this screenshot.
Yeah.
So and again, you can go whatever sites you don't have selected, you can go to it. So like, for instance, I use Ring Central. I can use Ring Central. I can get into my CRM. I can do anything any time of day. I just shut down the sites that I find where I waste the most time. So
Yeah.
that's all that I did
So in
basically.
essence, you leave your selling sites up so
Oh
you
yeah.
can access that information when it's time to do your selling from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Hmm.
And then you take away the squirrel or the distraction sites during that same period of time. So
That's
good for
correct.
you, man. Have you noticed a difference like in the amount of time that you're spending more time selling now? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And I have seen, I have seen, and I've effectively, I found out about this a few months back, and I've been really effectively doing it now for about 2.5 months probably. And I have seen in regards to, like, okay, I'll give you an example because, the mortgage industry is so, every month can be a little bit different and
Yeah.
not one month is the same. So if I was to look at from last year versus this year, how I'm doing, I literally have tripled my income from last year until this year. Now, I'm not going to say that this app has allowed me to triple my income, but I'm saying that this app has definitely accounted to helping me to get to a point where now I'm seeing a dramatic amount of more income coming in because I'm spending more time selling, Carl.
Good for you, brother. And the other thing I think the other thing, Troy, that you're doing, and you've already kind of touched upon it, is, dude, we're racehorses,
Mm,
and no trainer runs a racehorse 12 hours a day
no, no,
God,
no, no.
or 18 hours a day, and that we have to have downtime. It's like a box and a ring. You have to have a few minutes in between rounds, to drink some water, get some air, have somebody put some ice on your back. So in your case, when you go home, dude, from 6 p.m. to 11 a.m., or at least from 6 p.m. until 9 in the morning before you do your selling time, you're in rest mode. You're rebuilding this. You're re-oiling this selling machine, this business operating machine. You're giving it a chance to rest. And that is
That's right.
so important that we clear our heads for a good amount of portion of our day so that we're more effective. I see people, they're working all the time, and dude, they are working so ineffectively that they would actually make more money if they work less hours. Give the machine time to rest, just like a racehorse, just like a boxer. So good for you, man.
So, well,
Hey,
thanks,
I
man.
got to
Listen,
ask you another question. I got to ask you another
sure.
question.
Uh-huh.
So I would only guess that conversations around your dinner table, when you've had a 300% increase in your business in a 12-month period, my guess is conversations at your dinner table are a little different these days. Am I right about that?
Oh, they are completely different,
Yeah.
and I mean, really, they go along the lines of where are we gonna, what trip we're gonna do next, and
Yeah.
we're taking more trips together. We're having more fun. It's just
Good for you,
it's
man.
good. I mean,
Good for you.
it's liberating. It really is. Going back to the name of the class,
Yeah.
but it really is liberating. It really is.
Yeah. Good for you. All right, man. So what else you got?
Okay, so so we talked about earlier that you need to install it on your phone, your iPhone or your iPad. Now again, not on Android yet. I know they're working on getting it for Android, but even here's the thing, Carl. Even if you have an Android, if somebody on the phone on the call here has an Android, then I mean you can still put it on your laptop or your desktop, and you can still um, you may want to keep your Android. It may be worthwhile to get an iPhone if this is a big enough problem for you. I mean, again, it just all comes down to where is your problem at, where's your bottleneck at, and how are you going to overcome it. So
Yeah.
you need to put this on your mobile device as well.
Oh, for sure.
And to do that, you just simply go to the App Store and you search for the app Freedom.to, and then you download it. And once you download it, then you go back to the desktop or the desktop version
Yeah.
of the service, and then you just say that you want to turn on you simply select that you want to turn those sessions that you have, the reoccurring sessions like I have from 6 p.m. to 11 a.m.,
Yes.
that you want those reoccurring sessions to also be on your phone as well at the same.
Gotcha.
So that way, you can stop the problem on your phone as well.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So that's step 5, and that's it really. So that's 5 steps.
All right.
So there's a few traps that you, a few traps here that you want to avoid here. And these are, I got a couple of screens here of traps. The first one is, if you use a Mac, you probably don't have antivirus on it, but if you have a PC, you really have to have antivirus. So when I installed it, Freedom, on my computer, I had to, it wouldn't work. It wasn't allowing me to log in because what it does is Freedom uses a VPN. It installs a VPN on your computer and your phone, which they don't see any of your personal information. It's just they have to install a VPN. Honestly, I really don't know what VPN stands for, but it's a computer lingo. It's a computer lingo that allows them to be able to use the service. So you have to go in, and so if you have a problem when you first install it, you need to find out, click on that link right there, and then find which antivirus software you use, and allow Freedom to be on your computer.
Okay.
The second one is now Facebook. Facebook is pretty pesky. Facebook has, if you just install it and try to use the Facebook app, it will still work even if you're on downtime. So if you want to, you have to take a couple steps with Facebook where you to make it to where you can't see Facebook on your phone during your blocked sessions if you don't want to be on Facebook during those times. So there's a link there to be able to block Facebook during your designated times.
And for those of you that's listening to this maybe as a recording in your car or something like that, again, we provide the PowerPoint slides here. So so up where this class is going to be the PowerPoint slides. And if you open up the PowerPoint slides, these links under, you'll see traps to avoid. These links are on the page, and you can just pull, you can copy and paste right off the PowerPoint onto your browser and do the bypasses for the virus and the couple extra steps you need to do with Facebook. Good point.
That's correct. That's correct. And the third thing is, now this is the third thing. This is optional. I chose to do this. I chose to leave off Freedom on one of my computers on my laptop. And the reason why I did that is that so essentially the only way that I can check email is if I go to my laptop, and I can see email on my laptop 24 hours a day and get on Facebook and the other sites 24 hours a day, which I don't do it, of course. I don't carry my laptop everywhere. But the reason why I left it on my computer, my laptop, not my desktop, but my laptop, is in the event that I need to get a pre-qualification out during the designated times, or if I had to take care of something via email, I could do it from my laptop. I'll be honest though, very rarely does that happen. The main thing I've found though is that just keeping it off my phone has been the biggest time waster, is having it on my phone. Yeah. So I have it on there in case. It's kind of like the bat phone, it's kind of like if I have to get in there and work on something, which again, there's not that many emergencies in our business.
And man, I tell you, I would say, here's the problem with that. The problem is you go, well, in case I have to, all right, well, what if you couldn't do it when you had to? It would still be there in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So, because to me, you have to be real careful with it. And Troy, it might work for you. I guess it depends on how bad of an alcoholic you are. You know what I'm saying? And,
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
That for some people, this might be the hidden stash. They got the hidden bottle they got in the basement. They go, well, I'd have to go all the way in the basement and grab this to do it. So it just depends on how big of an issue this is for you. And for you, obviously, it's working extremely well. And again, you said this at the beginning of the call here, that you just have to have brutal honesty here. And if you go, like in your case, you go, hey, I got the spare laptop, and if I really have to, I can, and it's working great for you. For others, if you find yourself using that same laptop over and over and over, and nothing's really changed, we need to get rid of the hidden stash too, so to speak.
That's a very good point. To be very frank, I am looking at. It hasn't been an issue for me. It hasn't been I'm just being real transparent here. Personally, myself, my biggest issue was my phone. That was my biggest issue.
Yeah.
And so what I found is that whenever I'm doing my sales calls, whenever I'm doing my money making activities, I use my desktop, not my laptop. But I have been being very transparent. I have found a few times where, not often, but sometimes that laptop can suck you back in during your 9 to 11 time. So what you
Yeah.
say is a very good point. So
Yeah.
you know,
All right.
so anyway, that being said, but that's an
Yep.
optional one. But
Yep.
I agree with you completely on that. Absolutely. The next trap. So there's just two more. Um, so the you want to keep freedom on your phone running all the time. So you want to keep the app open because what happens if you don't keep it open on your phone? Sometimes it will allow you to look at email when you're not. I found it because I use Gmail for my business,
Yeah.
and I have found that sometimes Gmail can still check it if you don't have the app open. So I'll leave the app open to prevent it from allowing me to check it.
And just have it running in the
Um,
background.
that's right, just have it
Yeah.
running in the background. That's
Yeah.
all. So I
Okay.
kind of showed you the screen here on the iPhone how it looks when you have it running in the background. The last thing is that so 11 a.m. hits and I check my email 11:05 on my phone, and sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes it will still not allow me to check my email. And so what I found when that happens, all I have to do is go to, you see here the green freedom tab,
Yeah.
on your phone. You go in and you sign out and sign back in, and then you refresh and flip you flip the Gmail up where you can reopen it back up again, and then it'll work.
Yeah. So in other
So
words, you have to on rare occasions, what I'm hearing you say, you just have to reboot the app.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And usually I found that that typically happens whenever I try to check my email after after 6 p.m. on my phone. I'm trying to make it refresh, and then the next morning I have to do that.
I
So
got you.
it,
I got you.
it so it kind of
So
it's kind of it kind of slaps me in the face to remind me that I tried to
you try to
I
cheat
tried
it.
to go to the bar
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
night. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, that's kind of that. Um, here, these are slides that I found that I thought were funny, and I was going to use them in the class, but I couldn't find a place to use them. But I still wanted to put them in put them in the class.
Yes.
So this is a few funny, a few funny things here to
Yeah.
leave with you, So and really, Carl, that's really about it. And all I've got left is just all the legal stuff I have to have about who I am at the back of this page. But that's really about it. Do you have any other questions though?
Dude, I think I think it's a great solution for a really, really, really big problem. And Troy, it kind of, for me, it kind of goes back, you had me at increase my business 300%. And I get it. And you're saying, hey, well, that's obviously just installing this app didn't increase my income by 300%. However, installing that app allowed you to implement the strategies to increase your business by 300%.
That's right.
And
That's
so,
all it did. It got rid of the distractions that were causing me to go to that next level.
yeah.
Is all that it did.
Yeah. Well, dude, you're just a really awesome guy, and I really appreciate what you do for our group. Any kind of shameless plug you want to do here, Troy, or anything?
Oh, not really. I mean, the here, one thing that if you would like to subscribe to my Facebook, you can be a friend on Facebook or like me on Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You could do that as well. Really, I just love to stay in contact with you. If you have any questions, give me a phone call. You got my number here. And but really, this is just implement it. It's practically free, and just implement it and just start using it because I can tell you it works firsthand. It works.
Yeah, great stuff. It's just the only thing is that if you send Troy a message on Facebook between 6 p.m. and 11 a.m., don't be offended if you don't get a response because he can't.
Yeah, I can't do it. That's right. That's
Good
right.
stuff, brother.
Uh,
Hey, man. Well, I appreciate everything you do, Troy. Looking forward to seeing you at the next Freedom Club meeting. It's always a pleasure for that. We meet every 3 months or so. We all get together, and it's a real joy to see you there. And I appreciate your leadership in the group, my man.
Thanks, Carl. Appreciate it. My pleasure. I'll see you guys soon.
Okay, brother. All right. Thanks for being on today's call for those listening. And man, it's one thing to learn this stuff. It's another thing to put it into action. And this is one of those things that I think will help you put more of your stuff into action because you'll have more focused time to do it in. So on behalf of myself and Troy, thanks for being here. Thanks for making us part of your day. And we'll see you here on the web. Bye-bye.